Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. I hope you are having a great day. Today's story includes marital and financial problems, delicate situations with the in-law, lack of communication between spouses, and the difficulty of accepting each other's families. Let's start. Am I the idiot for telling my wife she was being childish and unreasonable for trying to make me choose between her or my mother? My wife and I have been together for 10 years, and married for 3. My wife Jane Doe is 29, and myself is 28. Generally speaking, during our years together, we have never really gotten into fights, or been at each other's throats. Sadly, that has changed over the last year, ever since my mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I made the choice to care for her, using my own funds, since my mother has no assets. Recently, we got into a fight, because as of late things have gotten tighter financially. We are not struggling, but our lifestyle has become rather limited, compared to what it was, prior to me taking care of my mother financially. I have also been less available, because I took on a different role at the job, higher pay, but more responsibilities, and longer hours. She has been trying to get me to place my mother in a Medicaid-funded nursing facility, and she knows how I feel about that. We both work in the medical field, and we both know exactly what will happen to a case like my mother, who is fully ambulatory, but requires hand-over-hand care, but can be combative with strangers, because she is oriented to the person, rather than place. I asked her that even if we went with her idea, does she really think that will make things better? I will still go visit her often, just to make sure they are doing right by her, and a private memory care facility would be 2 to 3 times as much as what I am currently paying for her home care. Then, she asked, what about us though? We are young, we should be living and enjoying our lives, creating memories and experiences. Which I agree with, and I told her, we can still do that, just not at the frequency that we once did. Then she started to tell me everything I already knew, and at this point I started to lose my cool. I know it is progressive. I know that at one point, if she lives long enough, she will need skilled nursing care. I know spending nearly 6 to 8K a month of her expenses is not financially sane. But she is my mother though, everything I have is because of her. She made countless sacrifices to raise me by herself, and it was not easy raising a kid, let alone one on the spectrum, working multiple jobs by herself. My wife knows this, and knows how much my mom means to me. She tried to play the card, if your mother was of sound mind, she would want you to enjoy, and live your life, and be happy. I snapped at this point, saying, sure, you may be right, if we were really struggling, but we are giving up extra vacations and freedom. This is where she replied with, then you have to choose, me or your mother. I cannot live this way anymore. At this point, I told her she was being childish and unreasonable, and if she wants a divorce, so be it. But don't try and play the victim, or act as if she is being reasonable. Had it been her family, I would understand, and do everything I can to support her through it. That is what partners do, they support one another, help lift them up when they fall, not kick them while they are down. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I understand that I may have been in the wrong to belittle her experience, and I understand that she married me, but that does not inherently mean she married into any future problems that may arise with my family. I know if I were sick, she would 100% stick with me, but my mother's case is different. This disease consumes everyone and everything involved, if you let it. I also understand how my actions have negatively impacted our marriage, and that she is a victim. But was I really an a-hole for telling her that she was being selfish and childish, to try and make me choose? OP also gives more information in the comments. Info: can you sustain the expense for the rest of your mother's expected life expectancy? Instead of the quantity of time spent making memories, will quality suffice? Are you inadvertently willing to sacrifice your relationship to care for your mother? First question is an unknown. If God willing, I stay employed, then yes, I can. But anything can happen that can change that. Second question, I personally do believe quality would suffice, but I understand that it is difficult not being able to indulge in the adventures we were able to in the past, in the same frequency. hard to go from nearly no restrictions to having restrictions, especially in the case of my wife, since, while we did split the expenses, my larger income did supplement a larger portion. Third question, I love my wife, and I also love my mother. I would not be the person I am today without either of them. I was never good with women or anything like that, and my wife is a very special person to me, and I do not want to lose her. But still, my mother is also a special person, and I do feel it is unreasonable to ask someone to choose between the people important to them. First, I'm very sorry for OP, for his mom, and for what the whole family is going through. This is a very sad and hard situation, and not everyone is willing to deal with it, and unfortunately, OP's wife seems to be one of them. I completely understand that OP wants to do what he thinks is the best for his mom. He has every right, and I believe I would do the same as him if, unfortunately, I was in his situation, but like I said, not everyone thinks or acts like this. This kind of constant care requires changes and sacrifices that go beyond just changes in our daily life and finances sacrifices. I know. And even though OP has been with his wife for many years, he may not know all sides of her. Heck, maybe even she didn't know she had that side, and that she would have this reaction, but the moment she realized that a large part of her life was going to be limited by taking care of someone else, that she wasn't willing, that side came out. But at the same time, I also don't condemn OP's wife, and I don't think she is the she-devil, or something like that. As I said, this situation is difficult, and not everyone knows how to deal with it. In the same way as OP, or in any way. The thing is, could she be more understanding with her husband? Yes. Could she be more comprehensive about her mother-in-law's condition? For sure. And could she have more empathy with this whole situation, and everyone involved? Definitely yes. But we don't know how she is, how she was raised or her values. She prefers to take care of her mother-in-law, but keeps her distance, to pay someone to take care of her and get on with her life. A lot of people also think this is a better option. As I said, the situation is very sad. OP and his wife could try to see each other's side better, try to put in others' shoes, and talk to each other, to find an understanding they both agree on. Honestly, I don't think neither of them are idiots, but the wife doesn't seem to have enough empathy for OP's situation. Which makes me wonder, if something like this was happening to her family, to her mother, would she have the same attitude that she is having with her mother-in-law? What do you guys think? And what do you think about this situation? What advice would you give to OP? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Now let's read what the comments say, before going to the update. I sympathize with you, but I also work in elder care, and understand fully how you're wrecking your wife's life. You should accept that she isn't willing to live this way, potentially for 5 to 15 years. I'm too sad for all involved to pass judgment. No idiots here. Or a little bit you are the idiot, but only for the way you spoke to your wife. I'm not sure if anyone has talked to you about this, but with Alzheimer's, it only gets harder for them to adjust to a care home, the longer you wait. If they go into care, while they're mostly still there, they can still learn that this place and these people are now their home. They still have the ability to reason that much, at least some of the time. The longer it's delayed, the less they are able to adjust. My mom's family kept my grandma in her children's homes as long as possible. When she was finally put into care, every interaction with anyone she recognized involved her begging to go home. Asking when we were taking her home. Demanding to know why we weren't taking her home. Sometimes meltdowns over that place not being home. She didn't have any ability to adjust left at that point. Having said that, choosing to be a caretaker is a choice. You're not wrong choosing to be her caretaker, but your wife is also not wrong for not choosing the life of a caretaker. It's a hard life with a lot of sacrifices. The fact that you want to make them and she doesn't is simple incompatibility. She's not childish for not wanting to sacrifice her life for your mother, and it was unkind and unjust to call her that. You are the idiot, not because of what you did, but because your wife is begging to be involved in the planning of her own effing life, and you don't see the point in involving her in those conversations. You say over and over again that talking about things with your wife would have been pointless, because you were always going to do exactly what you're doing. Really hear yourself. You didn't bother to have a conversation with your wife about your shared financial situation, because you didn't care about her opinion. You decided in advance that what she had to say wouldn't matter, and she didn't need to be consulted. No wonder she's pissed. This is hard, I know it is. It's the path we're headed down with my dad. But yes, you are the idiot. Your poor wife apparently has zero say in the next, however, many years of her life, because you made this decision. She's not being childish, she's absolutely entitled to feel the way she feels. And the way you talked to her definitely made you the idiot. Find another way, it's a huge life-impacting decision, and you have no right, mother or not, to make it for your wife. You are the idiot, not for caring for your mother, but for making a huge unilateral decision without your wife's agreement. Alzheimer's is a cruel disease, and this could last years. Your wife isn't wrong to feel the way she does, especially given the impact this is clearly having on her. And what do you guys think? Do you agree with the comments? What would you do if you were OP? What advice would you give him on how to handle the situation? But first, let's go to the update. Oh, are you enjoying the video so far? If so, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications to know when a new video is out. This really helps the channel, so I appreciate it. Now let's go to the update. Update: Am I the idiot for telling my wife she was being childish and unreasonable for trying to make me choose between her or my mother? Quick update: Since some asked for one, we had our first appointment with the marriage counselor, and it appears my wife has been holding in numerous issues and concerns. It is not just about vacations, as many have said. As one poster mentioned, she doesn't feel the current bill situation is fair. She stated that because I make more, I should be paying more overall when it comes to our expenses, instead of the 50-50 split we have been doing. She also believes that our income is a household asset, and to make such a choice with our money was wrong. More or less it is our money, and she should get a say in how we spend it. Another issue she has is she wants to take a position as a school nurse. The pay will be less, but the hours are overall better, and it would be far less stressful for her. She currently, also, has an issue with my lack of communication, and how my rigid/stuck-up worldview makes it hard for her to talk about serious topics. As an example, she wanted to ask me for help with her student loans, but was afraid to come to me, because she did not want me to judge her, due to the fact I told early, when we first met at university, that she should go to a cheaper university, and save the money for a graduate program. Since that is what I would have done, if I did not get a full scholarship and some grants. Surprisingly, my mom is fairly low on the list of issues. She does understand why I am doing what I am doing, but does believe that a child should not have to cover the expenses of a parent due poor planning. She has no problem with me helping, but does not think I should help her to the degree I am. Even if we are doing fine, 'cause in her eyes, as she said, we can always be doing better. She wants to spend more time together. She also misses her girl trips. According to her, even her own personal therapist thinks those trips allowed her to avoid work burnout and maintain a healthy mental state, and she should figure out a way to take more personal time. Which is part of the reason why she feels I should pay a larger portion of the bills instead of 50-50, since that would allow her to use her own income for more personal time. Overall, we are going to work on all these things. I have no desire to lose my wife, so I will keep as open of a mind as I can. I did mention that, overall, the care situation will stay the same, but I will look at other ways I can cut down her care, in such a way that I personally can live with. The care for my mom is a priority, and placing her is not an opinion. I will reassess the amount of care I am paying for currently. I do feel it was a successful meeting. I did feel like I was getting tag-teamed, but the original thread did prepare me for much of what was said, and what to expect. I am still at my wit's end, saying to her, I would care for your parents if the roles were reversed, seen as a means of manipulation and guilt-tripping on my part, to make her feel bad for how she feels. Thanks for all the advice and opinions, it really has been helpful. Well, not quite the update I was expecting, but I'm glad you and your wife are in therapy and you're communicating with each other. I hope you manage to work things out between you two, thinking about what's best for both of you and your mother. All the best, OP. Even with a maid and a caretaker, the wife acts like her whole world is ending because you use your personal money to afford. Seems like she's the a-hole. Your wife kept things from you, demands more control, wants to work less, keep her money and your money is our money. Put in less, get more say in how the money is spent. She is rather selfish too. Sorry dude, this is pure manipulation and I would question her true feelings and intentions. Honestly, I don't think it's wrong of you to take care of your mother. I would never abandon my parents, and our culture doesn't have the concept of sending parents to home. Hire a caretaker? Sure, I know my parents would take me to stay home with them in a heartbeat, and I am old, and yet my parents give me their cards when I go to visit. And that's it for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to leave your comments down below. Until next time.